Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so another day at it, just trying to make good on my day. As I was telling you guys earlier, very happy that my uncle sent what he was able to in regards to my room, because I was literally on the way to the bank to deposit $40 that I had taken out of my other account to assure that I could pay for food tonight, because I said I didn't want to eat the same thing tonight and didn't have the money in there. As I was telling you guys, my uncle sent it when I was like a block away. So what I was able to do was secure that so that I don't have to worry about it when it's time to pay for the room, which is really good because it's new management now over here, and upon coming in you want to have your cash ready, but you also don't want to go to the nearest ATM because it's extra transactions, so you would rather go here. So that worked out in the timing of the Lord, if you ask me. But my uncle asked me a question. Where am I at in regards to my process for looking for a church home? And I told him, I've been focused on my mental health journey, but I do see that as an area from which to focus. I don't feel differently about finding a church home, man. I'm completely disassociated almost. I pretty much completely disassociated with modern day practice of Christianity, as I've been paying attention to all this different stuff that the Christian people are doing in regards to Judeo-Christian beliefs and stuff like that. I'm not interested in being a part of any form of that. Now, granted, I have a relationship with Christ, which is dear to me, but as far as me following this country's version of this religion, the more I learn about what's going on in the world, the more I realize how far away I want to be from that. And I don't know how to have that conversation with my uncle, because to be honest with you, he's a conservative black person who believes in American Christianity very much. And a lot of them associate being well with having a certain prioritization to the practice of going to church. He was raised in a way where if you're not going to church, you're doing something wrong. I don't necessarily think that the church is defined the same way he does. I feel like I can have church by myself. I can have church when we have Bible study, you feel me? So I don't actually think I'm missing church. But his understanding of church is going to a church home, plus he thinks that they're going to be able to be some things in the church that help me. But I don't necessarily know of such things in California that align with that. And just the practice of going to church on Sunday requires me to step outside of my comfort zone in a multitude of areas, including basically dedicating my entire day to church, because I still got to do Bible study at 4:30. So if I'm going to a church home, which is likely going to be on the other side of town without a car, that commute is all day. That the whole day. Sunday's gone. And I can't necessarily say that that's a commitment that I really desire to make at all. Especially when I know my relationship with Christ is as strong as it's ever been. My relationship with God, he's happier with me now than he's ever been, if I'm being, since I was a child. So it's like, do I really need a church home? If I find a church home, it's going to be because my uncle leveraged helping me to get it, because he believes in it so much, and he feels as if there's something wrong without having a church home. I don't. My mother didn't necessarily raise me with that line of commitment to church. She was a person who avidly believed she needed to go to church too, but it wasn't like that was an emphasis in my household to say, if you're not there, then suddenly you disobeyed God and he's angry with you. That's something that my uncle was raised with. And that's not, I don't subscribe to that. My relationship with God is different. And my proximity to church is strenuous. In order to find church, I'm going to have to go to the other side of town. So it's like, that really does mean I'm getting up at like 6 in the morning on a Sunday just to be at church. And I don't get from church nothing that makes that desirable to me, if I'm being honest with you guys. It's not like I grew up needing that. It's not like I grew up with that culture. It's not like I'm an extrovert who needs to be around people. Quite the opposite. So my personality is that of somebody who wants to be alone, who don't want to be around people, who don't like large bodies of people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, I don't really want a church home. I want a relationship with God, and I have it. I want to be able to read the Bible every day, and I do. I also want to be able to read the Quran at will, and I do. Without the presence of somebody or any energy saying, yo, don't trust them because they're Muslim, like a lot of American Christianity is prone to be. Trust the Zionist Jews because Israel is like, I'm so far beyond that cap right there, that lie right there is so far in the dumps as it pertains to my mindset that I'm likely going to go to church, they're going to say something like that, and it's going to be the last time I go. So that's really what it comes down to. I don't really subscribe to the same thing my uncle does. And to a point, I do think it's important for some people to go to church. I believe church can be great for me too. But what type of church? Am I going to find that church in Los Angeles, in this America that we're in today? You tell me, man. I don't know. But just trying to huddle up into a room with a bunch of people who are praising the Lord, just so I can feel like I'm closer to God, I don't subscribe to that. That's not a thing in my life. I don't really believe in that, to be honest with you. I really don't believe in that. Now, I think there was a lot of greatness that came from me being raised with the understanding that I can feel comfortable in a church. My mother taking me to church, my father taking me to church. If I had a child, I'd want them to have that relationship with church, because it's an introduction to having your own relationship with God for those who don't have one. And for those who are extroverts and stuff like that, it really can be a great way to meet people and stuff like that. That's a wonderful thing for normal-minded people who don't have anxiety and don't struggle with that type of thing. So it's not like I'm saying, yo, you shouldn't go. No, you may be wired to where you probably should. You know what I mean? I just ain't. I'm not. I'm legitimately not. Now, that doesn't mean that good things can't come from me stepping out of this and going to church. For all I know, I meet my wife there. Totally possible. For all I know, I meet the people that's going to change my life there. Totally possible. Not ruling that out. Not even interested in pretending like I am. But like the urgency to hurry up and find a church home as if it's going to be the answer to my problems, I don't share that with my uncle at all. I haven't at all. I don't think I see what he sees in regards to that projection. And I think he thinks that me finding a church equals me being healed from my mental health, whatever stuff. And I'm pretty darn certain that's not how that works. I'm pretty darn certain that's not how that works. Because when I was going to church regularly, it didn't do it then. And so I don't think that. And not only that, but it's just a lot of these churches, man, they really are aligned with trying to guilt trip people into paying their bills. Like, that's the culture. Like, you may find a good church here and there, but like a good majority of churches, the focus is song and dance, tithings, maybe a little bit of scripture. Lots of performances, which it's a beautiful thing if you love the culture, if you love that type of music, if it makes you feel better. But the culture of church in a lot of cases requires an adaptation to a certain way of doing things with people and stuff like that. You gotta now put forth the right image to fit in. When you deal with the politics of it, the high school nature of it at times, I don't have any desire to be in that in any form or fashion. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff that just ain't got nothing to do with me. So, nah, I don't really know how to go about saying that that's not really my thing, man. I think I get all I need out of that just by being on Bible study with him and my family. And it took a long time for me to do that. You know what I mean? It took years before I was able to actually desire to be in Bible study. You know what I mean? My mother used to tell me to be a part of that for years. And I didn't join it until well after she passed away. So it's like, for me, it's like I don't like being pressured to do anything spiritually. I really don't. And those who follow me, those who know me as well as many of you who follow me know how my relationship with God and where my head is as it pertains to that. That's not really a struggle for me at all. I don't have that struggle in this era of my life at all. And so that's really what I'm here to say. I know my uncle doesn't know me that well. You know what I mean? He doesn't really know me that well. And he has a certain, like I said, conservative Christian values type of setup. He really military, you know what I mean? A lot of his values and a lot of the things he was raised with is true to life American Christianity, American white supremacy, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I'm anti all of that at this point in my life. I really am anti all of that. The normalization of colonial behaviors and colonization tactics is demonic. If I'm being completely honest with you, anything that normalizes settling into the idea that it's fine to do what the Pilgrims did, what Israel's doing right now, that is demonic. I don't care how much religion you plaster on it. If it's part of the energy that makes that okay, that doesn't condemn that on its surface and to its core, it's wrong. You understand what I'm saying to you? And a lot of what American Christianity is, particularly white supremacy Christianity and black church Christianity is making it so that we all continue on the path of normalizing that behavior and normalizing not being outraged by its existence. It was basically the church and the educational system and the propaganda machine coming together in unison to make it so that people could just look around and say, this was fine. Spilling Native American blood and betraying Native American trust was fine because look at all that we were able to accomplish in doing so. Nah, I will never do that. I will never be a part of that propaganda. I think that was wrong. I think it's horrible. I think it's still horrible. I am legitimately outraged by that action. And time did not heal that for me. Becoming more aware of it made it more outrageous for me. And I can't make that any more clear for anybody who follows me, yo. I subscribe to my own logic and culture as it pertains to that. I am not looking to the left of me. I'm not looking to the right of me. I'm not looking to the sky in regards to how to view all of that. That is wrong. And I know what made it so that people are able to look around and say, that was just a necessary sacrifice. That we were enslaved as black people was just something we need to get over. All of that, I know what made that possible. I know exactly what made all of that normal in our heads. It was the church and the schools and the propaganda machine known as entertainment coming together in unison to normalize that ridiculousness. Do I want to be a part of any of that? No. I want to be a part of the grand awakening that normalizes being outraged by that. Because it's happening again in Palestine. And as I tell y'all, my moral compass is pointed in a direction where if people are being silent about that, then they betray that moral compass. If they're trying to normalize looking at those who are doing it and justify their behavior or co-sign them or align with that narrative that they spew out of their guilty mouths, then that is against that moral compass that I harbor. It's pointed exactly at that because that's the one thing that everybody who claims to have a strong moral compass in this country is refusing to properly condemn. When it comes to them, suddenly it's okay that people do things crazy, bad things to them. It's okay that we look over there and see their children dying and them screaming and hollering and missing limbs and all types of starvation. It's like, oh, that's okay. No, that is not okay. And I know what made it okay to all of y'all. I know what made it okay to all of you. I know what did that to your brain. I know what came together to brainwash you in that way. I don't want to have any part of that. That's why my spirit as a child made a conscious decision to shut down when it came to school. It's exactly what I believe I was doing. Is rejecting that for which bumped my spirit naturally. Naturally. They just bumped my spirit. Like, you trying to tell me I'm supposed to pledge allegiance to the flag when I'm aware of what this was built on? The slaveries of, and the blood and the betrayal of my ancestors. I'm literally supposed to pledge allegiance to the flag that did this to my people? That is sorcery. Don't y'all get how demonic that sorcery is? And you could tell me, well, we did great things afterward. We did wonderful things together afterward. Yeah, but first you had to do the worst thing possible to somebody. The worst thing possible to somebody, and then prolonged suffering and mind games and gaslighting. It was done to my people. How am I not outraged by this? Every single day of my life, how am I not outraged by this? That's not even to speak to what else they did to other people. That's not even to speak to all the atrocities they're engaging in right now when it comes to this country and how we're operating. This just speaks to what they did to 4 or 5 generations ago of my people. When I pray to Jesus Christ, he reminds me of these things. He doesn't shut those things down. He doesn't tell me it was okay that this happened. He doesn't tell me to align with people who are doing it again today. Because there's a word named Israel in the Bible, so therefore these people who change their name to Israel, suddenly we're supposed to just be stupid and think that they're the same Israel. Not the same Israel. It's not okay that they did that. It's not okay that anybody did that. I'm not supposed to be sitting here co-signing the behavior as a person who was of that bloodline, that was victimized by this nonsense. No. I'm going to fight that with everything in me, and I'm still going to be cordial. I'm still going to sit down and understand that the people around me didn't do to me what was done to my people, and we all have to get along and try to live with one another, and it's not my place to try to play Nat Turner or anything. I'm not trying to do any of that. That doesn't represent me well, nor does it honor my ancestors in any way. It's not what they would have wanted me to do. They don't honor my Christ in any way. I'm not going to do anything that's going to dishonor my name, even though the name is a slave master's name, because I still represent it. And I respect that. I know this ain't a perfect place, and it's supposed to be my home, and it's the only home I've known. All of that. It's a conundrum that every American has to live with. That the Constitution, though perfectly aligned with the logic necessary to assure that humans of many kinds would ultimately have a free range of motion, of freedoms, and that can't be taken away. I think that was brilliant. Unfortunately, it was hypocrisy engaged in while they were making it, because they were not excluding me and my people, nor were they excluding the necessary reparations to be provided to my ancestors for the slavery that they put them through, for the stealing of land and slaughtering and genocide that they put those natives through. This was only about white supremacy. And so now we fast forward 500 years, and I'm supposed to just walk the streets and just be fine with all of this that was done, not looking for no kind of justice, not looking for no kind of normalization to the outrage of that, not only the behavior, but then furthermore, the normalization of the aftermath of it. No, I'm not rolling with any of that, man. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. That is a moral conundrum that I inherited, that I reject as an American, as a Black and Native American person. I reject that all the way around. And every bit of the mind control tactics, propaganda aspects and ultimately brushing under the rug of the trauma that ultimately I deserve to be able to acknowledge at any given point. You can tell me that I'm playing the victims. No, my people were the victims. And you can say, well, I'm not a slave. And I would say, well, you don't understand what it feels like to inherit the conundrum of this process of understanding that this happened to you, but also understanding you're in a world where they've okayed it. And then furthermore, as it's being redone again, you're sitting here and you're just saying, well, this is fine. This is how we move. I'm looking at people who look just like me, like Van Jones, bald-headed black dude sitting here saying, yeah, this is absolutely fine. This is exactly what we should be doing. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Honestly, what are you doing? It gets to a point where it's like, yo, I'm not going to, whatever made it so that he's doing that, I don't have nothing to do with it. Whatever made him an Israeli apologist as a black man harboring black skin and bones, I don't have nothing to do with that. Whatever church he went to, I ain't going to that. That's demonic. Whatever got in his head to make him think that he needs to side with the Israelis as they continue to kill indigenous people, just like white supremacy did to his ancestors. I don't know what that is. I don't subscribe to that, bro. The nature that it is futile to fight your oppressor is something I never believed in. I don't believe in that. No, not at all. My ego won't allow me to believe in that, if I'm being honest with you. You can charge it to my ego. I'm too bullheaded. I'm too much of a crash out to believe in that. You see what I'm saying? To just bend down and kiss the feet of people who are kicking me in the face? Please, you have to shoot me. Seriously, you'd have to. I'm never gonna do it. And this is what it looks like. This is exactly what that looks like. While everybody else is aligning with it, fine with it, moving on, continuing to drink the Kool-Aid, trying to line up to white supremacy in whatever way they are. Nah, man, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. That's not what the Lord wired my brain for at all. He wired my brain to normalize undoing that nonsense. I'm not going to line up with a bunch of people who agree that this is okay. No, for any reason. Not for faith, not for religion, not for exercise, not for nothing. And I can struggle just the same because as soon as the Super Bowl come on, as soon as the Lakers come on, I'm going to watch it. There are certain things that I haven't been able to undo. There are certain things that I don't wish to undo because it undoes my entire way of living. I might as well just put a bullet in my head if I'm just going to stop living. You see what I'm saying? If I'm just going to stop doing all of the things that I love to do because the world I'm in is an awful world, then I might as well just give up on life entirely. The hell's the point of being here? There's a world where I can do both. And hope to God that we further normalize it so that it's not as much of a struggle for my kids and my grandkids. As much of a struggle as it is for me, it should not be if I continue to influence properly. That's how I move, not we can't do nothing about it. Now, I was talking to somebody very recently. I'm not going to say who it was, but they were essentially saying that they were raised in a household where their parents were telling them, hey, you got to adapt to white supremacy, not because it's right, but because you're in a white world. You gotta assimilate to white supremacy because the majority of the people in your land is white. So whatever they do when you're in Rome, do what they do, right? I mean, in some cases, you can take that logic and apply it because it makes a lot of sense. But when you take the specifics of what has been done and you apply it, it doesn't. You see what I'm saying? That's not always wrong. It's just wrong in this case. I don't blame her for feeling that way. I just have a more centered mind on the idea that, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. My ancestors built this place. I can literally tell you what the culture is. I don't have to follow nobody else's culture just because they're here. I'm here too. Hey, follow mine. I have just as much right to the land as anybody else who feels they deserve it. Why? Because my ancestors not only built on this thing, lived and died on this thing, but some of my other ancestors were actually from this thing before white supremacy arrived. It's not a white world. They just conquered it. And the conquering is only as good as someone else honors it and fears what could happen to him for which I do not. So don't kill me anyway. They're poisoning me through their food anyway. They're poisoning me in my mind and my culture any damn way. They want me to kill my brother while they actually doing bad things to me from on high. This thing is meant for me to die whether I assimilate or not. And I'm smart enough to know it. I'm not that type of stupid though. If it's gonna kill me, it's gonna kill me while I'm swinging. It ain't gonna kill me while I'm kissing his boots. It ain't gonna kill me while I'm playing the game the way they want me to play it. I ain't that type of stupid. No. Hell no. I want to give credence to those who spoke the truth, that put the seed in my head that I didn't have to, too. Many people who lived before me, who spoke the truth to power that I heeded and embodied as my truth, those individuals deserve their respect. And I can't name all of them because there's too many to count. Black Panther Party, Malcolm X, even some of my favorite poets and MCs that have planted the seeds that I didn't have to assimilate to my oppressor. I don't have to kiss the boot of those who victimize me. I don't have to do that. I don't have to line up with them and do what they say just because they make up the majority. They don't make up nothing but the lies that they tell. It's that people feel they do, they need to, that makes them as powerful as they are. As we spoke earlier, as I was speaking to my sister about earlier, and I said on this channel many times, it's the people that align with white supremacy, feeling it's futile to fight against the evil that it does, that make it as strong as it is. They can divide you, convert a bunch of y'all into assimilating to its cultures, and then it can defeat you. Otherwise, it is not a majority. It's a majority when those who oppose it are divided, docile, too compromised to fight, too brainwashed and drugged out of their mind to fight. That's when they are the majority. They ain't the majority if we all focus and align and centered on what it is that we know is right. Not waiting for them to define it for us. Not waiting for them to tell us who Jesus is and what color he was. As they continue to lie about every damn thing. Everything. No, man. I'm not rolling, bro. I'm not doing it. No. I don't have no identity complex as it pertains to that, bro. What they did was wrong. They did it to my people, me, in multiple areas of my bloodline. Hell no, I'm not aligning with it on nothing. As it pertains to continuing to normalize what was done without justifying and making it right. When the first thing they do is arrest me for the same things that they did if I were to do those things. But then when it comes to them, I'm supposed to it's uncouth for me to look for justice, man, get out of here. You ain't about to Charlie Kirk this situation with me. That's a microcosm of what they're doing with Charlie Kirk. They knocked him off, and now it's like it's illegal to look for who did it. And now it's like it's rude for us to inquire who killed the man. And they want to prop him up like he's some type of new Jesus, even though all he did was disrespect people of color. And now, when you start looking and finding out who the hell killed him, suddenly you're the bad guy. Nah, I'm not rolling. And you want me to line up with that type of energy? Are you crazy? He was a Christian. I'm a different type of Christian. I ain't that type of Christian. That ain't my Christianity, friends. I don't know that version of Christ. The Christ I know that loved everybody. He didn't just love white people only and Jewish people only and people who are of color who would align with the white people only above all reproach and Jewish people only above all reproach. I don't know that Jesus. That's not my Jesus. That's a Jesus they conjured up to justify all the evil that they intend to do to take over the rest of the damn world. And we're supposed to be in the middle of that process, and our generation is supposed to be in the middle of aligning with the assimilation process. we got to continue to play our part so they can continue doing what they're doing. I'm not playing. The least I can do for my ancestors and everybody else that these people have harmed is not continue that process with the time that I have in existence. I can't do it. I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to co-sign that, man. Call me woke. That's fine. I have an actual connection with God. I'm awake. I'm not brainwashed by any of these cultures that are meant for me to look at my own brothers as if they're the real enemy. No. Looking around at black folks like they're about to hurt me. Black folks ain't never done nothing but be me. I embody blackness. Why the hell am I afraid of blackness? No. It's white supremacy that victimized my people. Don't blame blackness. We ain't do nothing else but be us. I'm not aligned with any hive mind, hive thinking, none of that at all. I'm not aligned with anything that tells me that I'm wrong for not having a proximity to others, or proximity to whiteness, or proximity to a religious cult, or whatever people are aligning up. I'm not with any of that. I know Jesus Christ. I know what he stands for, and he's quite simple. Love everybody, judge nobody, leave that to God. Follow your compassion is a true north, which should align you with being as kind and as accepting of people, no matter how further distant they are from your cultures or your norms. That is not what Christianity is about at all. But Christ was about that. So what am I about to follow? Christianity, or am I following Jesus Christ? Because I can't do both. Can't do both. If you're aligning with Christianity, as I understand it, as most of us understand in this country, then you weeding out people that you don't agree with. You weeding out people that you think God ain't happy with. You're shunning certain people if they don't align with the culture of the church. You're shunning people if they can't afford to pay their tithes. You're shunning people if they ain't saying the verses properly. I ain't with none of that. God didn't make it that complicated. Jesus Christ ain't that complicated of a guy. He's not. He never was. He ain't that complicated of a spirit. If you connected with him, you know he ain't with none of this. So how do you, in understanding that, align with what this country's trying to do with his image and his relationship with people, and still align with the substance of his character? You can't. That's what I've learned. You cannot. Judeo-Christian. That is the most oxymoronish thing there is. That entire process is built upon lies. How could it be attached to Christianity as the spirit of Christ would embody truth, not lies? So how am I aligning the modern day Israel, which is literally a state of lies? All lies. Everything they talk about is not true. They are the furthest thing from the truth in the world right now. All they do is lie. And align that with Jesus Christ. That don't even make no sense. But this country is doing that. They're doing it every single day, especially now. I'm like, man, please. You want me to line up with what? American churches? Christianity? The one that this what's going on right now? No, please. Even the people, and I'll tell you this, even the people who are watching this Charlie Kirk situation, the conservative Christians, a lot of them who are supporting finding the truth, they run into problems with certain aspects of their ideology. Because at the end of the day, they look at a person like me and they see a bad person. Or they look at someone like me and see somebody who's against that for which is of Christianity and Christ. Why? Because I'm not shunning anybody. Because I'm curious about the Muslim religion. Want to get closer to the Muslim people. Want to get closer to Muslim religion. Want to understand it better. See it as my friend. That right there makes me a bad guy to most of them. Even if they're awakening to an understanding of the lie that is Israel, they still, in a lot of cases, think that Muslim energy is in the great antithesis to us and the spirit of Christianity. That right there tells me that's not the place for me. That right there tells me that's not the religion for me. Because I know better. Christ had already let me know that that's not how he wants me viewing them. I've already got spiritual confirmation that he wants me to be a bit more, if not a lot more, open-minded about them. The genocide itself is showing me that. The devil can't wait to destroy all of them, killing their kids, trying to torture them. If they align with the energy of the enemy, it wouldn't be as necessary to demoralize them. That right there is obvious to me. He would use them like he uses all these evil people who are aligning with the nonsense. That's what he does with people that he doesn't intend to demoralize right away. He'll get around to it later after he finishes using you. But he can't use those people. That's the point. And they are useless to him. That's why he tries to demoralize them so much. That's why he wants to erase them from the earth. That's why he makes them the butt of every bit of his intentions to harm. It's because to the enemy, they are absolutely impenetrable as it pertains to their faith. They reject him on so many different fronts in regards to how they operate. If they're doing things the right way, true to their religion, because a lot of them, of course, just like every religion, is infiltrated by the enemy. People who are following worldly ways, worldly intentions, worldly desires, sin nature. People who defect, they're in every group. But what I'm saying, for those who are devout, who follow it to the word and the letter, the devil can't even get through to them. He can't even reach them. That's why you hate him so much. And if I'm following American Christianity, they're essentially telling me to stiff arm all them people. Get them out of here. They're the terrorists. You need to be afraid of them. Islam is the enemy of America. Their enemy. That's because America is aligned with devilishness. And they do the devil's bidding just like Israel does. This is why I try to do my very best as an American to not be of America. I can be American without being of America. It's like I could be in the world without of it. Not of it, same thing. Same thing. Because when you really break it down, it's a bunch of co-signing the great conundrum that not only allows for us to not look for the justice necessary for all of the atrocities that it's engaged in, but to continue to co-sign it for generations to come. And we are just a bridge. We, the people, are a bridge between the last atrocity that America engaged in and the next atrocity that America is going to engage in. Because we co-sign the behavior, we don't fight the energy that ultimately makes it possible. We just continue to relay it forward because it feels wise to us as we continue this process. It's not right. It's wrong. And like I said, I'm not waiting for nobody to tell me that. This thing is demonic. It's been demonic. It was built on demon energy and it continues to thrive off demon energy. It harms people all over the world, unapologetically, and co-signs it and gaslights people and lies and puts label on people. Its own people, other people, it's evil. It's been evil. And that's not hearsay. That's what the truth is. And they've made it so that it's rude to tell the truth about this thing, man. They've made it so that it's rude to say that. They've made it so that you're treasonous for wanting it to be not evil. For wanting anything evil to not exist. For the betterment of humankind going forward. Just like every devilish entity. Making it rude to tell the truth. Making it rude to look at it for what it is. Making it sacrilege to tell the truth. Just like Israelis. Sacrilege. Not to sacrifice yourself for it. No, man, I'm not subscribing to none of that. I'm strong enough within it to have been raised here, but not warped by this place. Not warped by this place. They don't have my soul. At all. They don't have my soul. It's never had my soul. It's had my body, and at times it's had my mind, but it's never had my soul. And I've always, and I mean always, been connected to something greater than myself that has maneuvered me in an unorthodox way away from that for which would make me not able to say what I'm saying right now. It didn't have my mind to that degree, to where I would just assimilate with it and just continue to move as it wants me to move. I was never, ever designed that way by the Holy Spirit. He didn't design me that way. You're not wired that way. And most importantly, it's important that anybody understand this about me. You put me in a space where you're supposed to assimilate that way. It's only but so long I'm going to be able to inhabit that space without blowing it up as it pertains to telling the truth. I'm going to embarrass all of y'all. I'm going to get on that stage and I'm going to talk about Palestine. And I'm going to condemn Israel just like I'm doing on this camera. You don't want me in your church. I'm not going to get up there and say nothing about the collection plate. I'm going to get up there and say, you see all these dead babies we've been looking at for the last 2 years? What are y'all doing? Y'all really going to let the imperial energy continue to relay forward its intentions? And continue to grow more powerful on the indigenous people's backs? Are we really doing that? They gonna want me out of church as quick as I got in there, man, because I'm not gonna behave. Not the way that y'all define behavior. I'm gonna act crazy. Because this is what y'all consider crazy. He's telling the truth. That's unwise. Let's shun this man. Get him away from here. I don't think he's well. His mental health. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is. I'm wired just right to not align with all that evil y'all be doing. That y'all co-sign, that y'all be fine with. No. Heck no, never. In a million years. I can live a million lifetimes and I'm going to be the same way, man. I'm not ever going to co-sign that crap. I'm never going to see it reasonable to co-sign that crap. I'm never going to see myself so small as to not be able to defeat it with my voice. That's where the crazy really comes in. Most people just say, yo, it's unwise. We're in Rome, let's move as Romans do. And then blood's on my hands. Because the Romans decide to kill people without being held accountable for their actions. No. I'm not gonna be the reason why y'all continue on this process. I'm gonna be the one who try to tell you not to. I'm gonna be the one that plants the seed. One of many that plant the seed to say, no, that was never okay. You should reconsider that. No, I can be in a space like my own and say, no, that's not all right. It's never okay. Just like people are planting seeds to let you know that it is, there can be people out here to plant seeds to tell you that it's not. And I was thinking about something earlier today. And I was reflecting on my time as a weed smoker. And I was thinking, man, people who were telling me at the time, my mother, different people in my life, different, just random areas of life, I would hear, yo, you probably shouldn't smoke, or weed is not cool, or this and that. I wasn't trying to hear none of that, right? Never. I smoked weed no matter what. It was nobody, no single someone or no collection of someones when I was in my heaviest weed smoke could have stopped me from smoking weed. Nobody. But when I look back on when I quit, when I decided for myself to quit, what I realized was it was everyone who told me that it was okay to stop. Everyone who planted the seed in my head that told me it was okay to stop, that ultimately collectively made it so that I felt comfortable doing so when I decided to. Though they failed to get me to quit, they were also the reason why I did. And that's how I look at the suggestion of things. I don't necessarily feel like I can change the world, but I also understand that every seed that suggests that the world needs to be changed will influence the eventual change that the world will see. It's not that I'm trying to change the world. It's that I know I'm effective in planting the seed that will. I move in that type of certainty because I understand how God actually works in that regard. I understand that it was seeds planted by many different people, too many that I could name, that would make me confident enough to say I'm not standing with white supremacy as it continues to move forward and taking over half of the Middle East. That is not futile, even though the world around me tells me it is. That is people like me who are going to make it so that there's a fleet of individuals who stand against that whenever they decide to. Whenever they're strong enough to, it's going to be because people like myself and all the others who influence me and all the others who are influencing outside of my realm of being able to hear them, making it normal to fight the monster that this is. Just like it takes people like whoever you may be, who's not saying anything, to collectively make it comfortable, continuing to move forward as it does. It's a suggestion of individuals, one way or another, that ultimately influences the happenings that are coming. Planting the seeds in the minds of those who are strong enough and smart enough to make changes, or planting the seeds in the minds of those who are indifferent enough to stand still and watch horrors take place. Which are you? Which village are you trying to be a part of? What are you trying to relay forward to the youth of tomorrow? What are you helping normalize with your intentions and with your words and with how you stand? That's what I'm asking all of y'all, man. I tell you what I'm trying to convince you to do is stand. Be outraged with all of this. It's never okay to harm children. It's never okay to steal people's land. It's never okay to gaslight people who are outraged by that behavior. It's not okay to brainwash people into making it okay to be that way. It's not okay to look around and see all this beautiful stuff that has been built upon the backs of those who have been harmed, and say that their harm was necessary so that this beauty could be true. None of that is of God. None of that is of you. Not if you're aligned with the trueness, the true spirit of Jesus Christ. Then the very kind-hearted individual who lived 33 years just to be sacrificed. Nah, that person, he'd be standing next to me telling you that it's okay to not be okay with any of this. Just like it's okay to speak out against that for which is taking place, which harms people, no matter how powerful it is, no matter how futile you may feel it is speaking out. That with the faith that you have in him and his kindness and his grace and his connection to the Father, that you can be a part of the solution that brings that monster down. That makes it so that no monster like that ever rises again without proper resistance. This thing is not stronger than that faith that I have in that man. And the respect that I have for his sacrifice and his teachings. America's not stronger than that. 1,000 Americas ain't stronger than that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's convinced a lot of people. This evil entity has convinced a lot of people over the course of many generations that it should just go along with whatever it chooses as it continues to victimize indigenous people, its own people, aligning with factions that are looking to do the same thing and build more of the same. No, we're not going forward with that. No, you can't do that in the Middle East without resistance. No. I'm not going to let you victimize the Palestinian people the same way you did my Native American ancestors. No. And whatever makes that normal, I'm going to fight too. Whatever comes together to make it so that so many people are silent, planting the seeds of indifference to the process of that domination is not of God. Not of the God that I believe in. The God that I believe in would slay that monster. Would give me the confidence to know that I can be a part of slaying that monster, and should, for the betterment of the carry forward of humanity and fairness and love and the spirit of Jesus Christ, who accepted people and loved people and sacrificed himself for the betterment of himself, of others, and for the love of himself for that matter. And the dignity he wanted to portray when carrying forward his legacy. That's the image. That's the image that we should be mimicking. Not the perverted nature that has been taken from the essence of his power converted into something that aligns with more and more cowardice, more and more domination, more and more segregation and white supremacy and Zionist supremacy and all these different things that it tries to co-sign. That ain't got nothing to do with Jesus Christ. If anything, it's the evil that he fights with his kindness. That's what I'm here to tell all of y'all. The devil's a liar and a deceiver. He's always going to put on as if he's something that he's not, so that you will be convinced to align with him as he intends to betray you. That's what he does. Of course, he's going to put on a clergy uniform and do all the worst stuff. Of course, he's going to put on a yarmulke hat and then proceed to harm people. Of course, he's going to line up with the pastor and then proceed to suck dry everybody that's underneath him. That's what the devil wants to do, is to turn you away by way of example. That's what his intention is. To deceive everybody, to make you think it's something that it's not, and then betray you. That's the plan. So that you will feel like it's absolutely just futile to trust anybody, to even trust yourself. He wants to destroy that fight in you and that trust in you and that connection to a living God, which is in your consciousness. Because if you don't trust that consciousness, if you don't trust that conscience, then he can control you just like he's controlling many all over the world. But this is the vehicle from which to do so. It's betrayal. It's deceiving. It's deception. When I look through a spiritual lens and everything I'm looking at, you know what the Lord tells me? You know what I see there? Stand on your square. You are the church. Don't follow any of these people down any path they're on, because you're in the belly of the beast, and the beast is intentional on having others co-sign his existence as he continues to terrorize the earth, doing the devil's bidding, deceiving everyone, pretending like he's a pillar of moral standards when actually he's a betrayal of all morality. This is what he does. I'm not here to line up with that nonsense. I'm here to tell y'all about it and move in a direction that the Lord would intend me to go, for me to go, not with it at all, on no front going forward, not if I'm doing things correctly. So I encourage y'all to consider what I'm saying, man. Do I need a church home? Not if the church ain't gonna align with the moral compass that I ultimately possess, which deteriorates the idea that I'm supposed to go along with this mess. Absolutely not. Look over there. Those people in Palestine are starving, and it's your tax dollars paying for it. Look over there. Those people are suffering and crying out to God. That's where Jesus Christ, the person you say you worship, that's where he walked the earth. That's his hometown. Those are his people. That your Judeo brothers, who you call your Judeo-Christian brothers, Zionist brothers, are trying to destroy. They're destroying his people. You're going to stay in that space of hypocrisy, of blatant and utter betrayal, and act like you don't see it because it's just not wise to do so in your day? Don't be ridiculous. I don't know what type of sorcery you're under, but I'm not under it. Wake up. It is perfectly fine to resist that nonsense. It's perfectly fine for those people to have resistance to their oppression. It's perfectly fine. Just like it was fine when the Black Panthers did it. Just like it's going to be fine when Hamas does it. It's perfectly fine to go against your oppressor. If he's trying to harm you and destroy your children, you have every right to defend yourself. And anything that tries to tell you you're wrong is wrong. Anything that tries to make it sound like that is so wrong is betraying your humanity. And that's just a reflection of what it's always done. It's always done that. It's always done it to every facet of its victims who tried to buck its systems. It always tried to normalize the villainizing, if that's the right word, dehumanization and the demonization of its self-preservation rights and duties. To protect himself, to protect his family, to protect his future. It's going to always tell you that you're a disruptor, that you're a bad guy, that you're you're a savage. That it has to buck you, that it has to break you rather. That it has to instill in you some sort of discipline so that it can align you with what is civilized. That is the normalization of your suffering. You being fine with your own suffering, that's what it's trying to push on you. Not religion. Religion is the vehicle from which that's supposed to be instilled in you. That's the syringe that's supposed to go in your arm. What's in that syringe is you being docile to your own self-preservation. I'm telling y'all, man, I'm not rolling with that. I will never roll with that. I wasn't wired to roll with that. God gave me a different lens from which to look at this world. I'm not that type of person, man. No. I'm not just disrupting for no reason. I'm not looking to get out here and make people uncomfortable when they're in their spaces. But I am here to tell you to my own voice, to my own, on my own channel and what it is that I ultimately control in my spaces. I'm going to talk what it is I know, not just what is appropriate or what is wise to those who are ultimately trying to survive in this horrible thing. No. Respect to y'all. If that's what you have to do, hey, man, that's your thing. But then I ask you once again, what are you trying to contribute to? What are you trying to relay forward? More of the same that's going to cause more and more suffering and pain, more and more gaslighting and psychological trauma? No, I'm not relaying that forward, not on purpose, man. I'm not going to do that. Even if you feel you need to, I'm not going to do it. The Lord allowed it for me to know better and to do, man. He wired me just right to not worship riches and acceptance of people who are all in the dark. All of them in the dark. If they knew better, they'd do better. The only reason why they love and worship the things they do is because they can't see what it is I see. I understand that. If the Lord didn't give me this spiritual lens, so to speak, and this ability to speak and be crazy like I am, and I'd probably be somewhere worshiping money too. Probably somewhere with some low frequency nonsense too. No, he didn't give me that. It's not what he wired me for, man. And I've learned to accept that in these last couple of years, man. Learned to accept that. As I told y'all, this is my legacy here. This is my legacy. It's not other things, man. It's just simply being on my channel telling you guys something that nobody else is really able to say because it's just unwise to do so. People are just too politically aligned to do so. People are just too busy chasing a buck to do so. Too afraid that they're going to lose something to do so. I'm not wired for that. My circumstances enabled me so that I don't have to do that. I'm a free enough person in my life to do this. And so I do it for those who can't. For those who are not strong enough to. For those who don't have the ability to. It's my job. It's my destiny. It's my purpose. I want people to consider, say a prayer after I'm done with this video. After you're done with watching my video, after I turn this off, throw a little prayer in the air in your own best religion, your best understanding. Yeah, I'm not telling you what to pray about. I'm just telling you to connect with God. I ain't telling you how long you got to pray. I'm not saying it got to be longer than 3 sentences or 3 words. But send one up to God for yourself. Send one up to God for the betterment of your understanding and the enlightenment of your own mind in the presence of whatever struggle you may be in, whatever culture you may be in, whatever is put into existence surrounding you as a baby, all the way up to the point you're in right now where you're able to understand what's coming out of my mouth. And do understand that we have been molded in the world we're in a certain way. And it's incumbent upon us to take the seeds from people like myself who are just suggesting to us that change is not only possible, but is our responsibility. It's our responsibility. Because it's not harmless that we continue to allow this machine to move forward, because it's going to hurt more people. It's going to cause more terror. It's going to create more realities that are impossible for others to deal with. And we have got to stand on our square and say, though I benefit from this, it is still my responsibility to destroy it, or at least suggest that it be reformed if such a thing is possible. I don't have the wisdom. I'm just telling you, it can't go forward like this, man. And in 2025, where I stand, I'm telling you that it's everybody who came before it that was silent to its atrocities that allowed for the atrocities of today to take place. It's because so many people were too comfortable in the spaces of oppression and too aligned with the oppressor in whatever way that the people who are being oppressed today are able to be oppressed. That energy should have been shunned a long time ago. People should have been saying no to that back then in such a way that made it impossible to ever feel like you could do that again. And they did it. They failed us, and I'm not going to allow us to be failed going forward. Not with my voice, man. And so that's what I'm telling people. At some point in time, you just got to say no. I know this thing is big and strong, and it's scary, and we're small, and we're just able to do a drop in the bucket. But every drop makes for whatever's in the bucket, man. Whether it be one drop or a million drops that fill up the whole bucket. The point is, it takes a drop to do so, man. And I'm going to be that drop. You understand what I'm saying to you? I'm not afraid to be that drop, bro. And so I just want people to understand. It's for the people of Palestine that I speak the way that I do. It's for the people, the Native American people that came before me that speak the way that I do. It's for my ancestors and the freedom fighters that came after my ancestors that planted the seeds that it's okay for me to speak this way and feel this way and be outraged this way. The Black Panthers, Hamas, and all of the different freedom fighters that came before us that were shunned and told they were bad guys and normalized their suffering and normalized trying to buck their resistance to the tyranny that they were coming against. It was them, all of them, that I speak the way I do. They made it okay for me to say that it should be okay for you. Don't be okay with this. Don't be okay with the oppression. Don't be okay with the suffering of small children, the dehumanization of people of color or whatever people would come after this. Don't be okay with any of that, man. It's never okay to harm people for nothing or for any reason for that matter. Jesus wouldn't have, in all of his power and confidence, he didn't have to kill a single soul. He didn't have to convince anybody by way of force to anything. And he was the strongest of us all and still died a victim of the arrogance of evil in humanity. So don't think you're saving yourself by aligning with nonsense, because even the best of us couldn't save ourselves. You're going to die of something anyway. You might as well die fighting. You might as well die standing for something. You might as well die being a drop in the bucket that normalizes fighting these monstrous entities that look to destroy the world and overcome us with supremacy, whatever form of supremacy, man. Stand. It's okay to do so. It's okay to look the devil in the eye and say the truth is here and it's not moving. You can go ahead and fear that. BDL 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.